So status, let's see what we have. New page, where is new page here? 8/21, 2018. Status, demos. I have one. And topics, let's see, anyone has demos? Antoine?
No, not this week.
Okay, so I'll do my only. Orchard 1, and I see that nothing was merged in Orchard 1, so no news. Orchard core, more things. Let's start. Last week, this is, so Matthias is working. Matthias is not here. Where is Matthias? It's not here. Matthias is working on the content tree, and I had a meeting with him about that to see his progress. He started on using Vue.js with a second menu on top of the one we have, and displaying all the content items, but we faced some issues, so we brainstormed about how we should organize the content. And the last decision that he should try was for him to try to integrate in the current admin navigation, even if it means that we need to enhance the navigation system in the admin, but it should work. It will not be Ajaxy like with Vue.js, but we should be able to reuse whatever we have in the navigation to provide the content tree items. And yeah, so we'll see how he makes progress on that. I haven't heard from him since last time we met last week. Let me check which branch is the dev branch to see what has been merged. This is the one on the left. So we are here, the one on the left. So this is content permissions. So Jasmin has started to work on content permissions, content item permissions mostly. Jasmin also wrote a PR for the enumeration field, or updated his PR for the enumeration field, which led us to work on what's missing for the enumeration field, and this is what I will show you later. So I did some coding with him and Jean-Thierry, I think on Wednesday afternoon or something like that, and you will see the result. Upgrade dependencies, this has been merged. Oh, let's see on the left side, I said enable multi-URI support for IDC applications, so an improvement from Matthias. Supervised by Kevin about the OIDC endpoints. We merged the MiniProfiler branch. I'm not sure if it works correctly, Antoine. You told me about it, something, but I don't remember what you said, if it was actually working or not. I know SQLite had issues with, we had issues to show the SQL queries with SQLite. It used to work and then it stopped working, and I haven't tried it since then. And we'll have to check with SQL Server. We merged Siamand YouTube video field, and yeah, we'll see how it goes with the new things we change with the fields after that. So upgrade dependency, no add missing links docs, so apparently we were missing some links to some documentation pages, so Antoine fixed it. Krishna, who fixed an issue with some workflow activities, and by the way, Sipke is back. So it took some time off the workflow module the past month, and so I saw him commenting. So we should have more progress on the feedback on this feature. But Krishna fixed two issues he found while testing the workflow with content management. Antoine upgraded all the dependencies for all the NuGet packages we are using. Good. Setup view, Jean-Thierry has a PR ready to clean and /fix the setup and remove what we do automatically to inject a base page. We'll see how it goes. I need to merge it. This is the work we did, field editor, I will show you later. Jean-Thierry fixing setup again. Same thing, migration example. So yeah, I don't know his name, etc. Suggested to improve the documentation for creating migrations and more specifically to create content types, configure parts and fields during migrations. So we made that. That's good. Oh, it's a new file? No, it's an existing file. So we should have it already on the site. Let's see how it looks like. Docs Orchard Core. Latest. What's the file name? Migrations, content types. And this is not here. So let's see on dev. This is here. You see migrations, how to inject IContent definition manager, how to create a new type, how to change the properties of the new type, how to add parts or change parts, how to customize the parts settings, example with auto-route part settings, how to add content fields and customize them. Should be very useful. That's good. Fix placement documentation link, again some links, fixing links to MVC web and NC. I didn't see these PRs, maybe because there were no PRs. Fixing links, that's fine. Serilog documentation, okay. Documentation on creating a theme. Is just fixing the links? Nope.
No, I added a page, a small article explaining how to create a theme.
Okay, good. Jean-Thierry, we started to work on distributed services, and I think he started to look at the message bus implementations also. So what is that? Oh, this is to fix the way site settings are cached. This is a bug I need to merge. This is hosted services, and so he went back on the background tasks to implement some of the feedback I gave him on the feature. So now I need to look at it, and he also, I think, changed the UI to improve it, just improvements. So I need to check back on that. Sipke ISL is back, implementing HTTP response task. It's pretty active actually. So HTTP response task, interesting. We'll see, he's not here. So I assume next week, if he's there, we'll get a demo. HTTP response tag, HTTP redirect task. Okay, we'll see what he has to do with that. Refactor workflow store API using specification pattern. OMG, this is a PR, that's good. So we need to look at that. What is that? Specification pattern. there will be a PR. We'll see that. So that's the status. So demos. That's me. Is Jasmine is here. So please correct me if I say wrong things. Let me connect to my machine. And I don't think we merged anything for that. The PR is still active. So I will demo first. Yeah, Jean-Thierry reviewed the PR and found some issues. So we'll have to look at that. Minor stuff. So core. Let's see where I am. No, I need to go there. Field editors. Beautiful. So the idea is that a while ago, I think it all started with Antoine, who made some enumeration field, and the issue I had with the enumeration field that he made was that it will be like new fields just to be able to show different editors in the fields, but in the end it was the same data that we would change. So what we had was a way, and we still have it, was a way to create custom editors. So if I go to, even today, if you go with your master branch to go to create a text field, you will be able to select the WYSIWYG editor or the multi-line editor. No, WYSIWYG no. For HTML, we'll have standard and WYSIWYG. For the text, you will have standard and text area. So you can have editors, but this thing is hacked into the text field or the HTML field. It's not something that Author supports. It's just the field itself exposes a drop-down and some kind of extensibility for this field, specifically to be able to get custom editors. So that was kind of hacky. And in the scope of the editor, the enumeration field, the editor was still not sufficient because we wanted also to customize the editor itself. So maybe the editor is let's say a checkbox list, okay? But you want to be able to change the list of the values for this checkbox list. So that's why you made an enumeration. But sometimes it's just a selection between multiple elements, but in the end we just have one value. So it should really be a text field with an editor that shows multiple possible values, and not a custom field because there are multiple values. So what we found out is that we required the notion of an editor settings. So first you can select editors for your field, the same field will have multiple type of editors, and then each editor might require settings to customize the UI of this editor. So we were limited by that. And then Siaman created a video field, which in the end would require the same thing. And then Antoine. Jasmine made also another set of fields, including the enumeration field, which had the same issue as Antoine's field. So I'm like, okay, let's stop blocking everyone from making fields, and we did a meeting on some pair programming, but not as a pair, but as a trio. So I called Jasmine. I said, okay, I will help you do that because it might be hard to find what are the pieces you need to make it happen. And then Jean-Thierry was connected, so we just pinged him just to see if he wanted to participate. And we made a meeting in French and French-Canadian just to implement that. We didn't record it, but it was fun. 2 hours meeting, and then we implemented the full feature. So let me show you how it looks like now when you create fields. So do I have, I'm sure I already have lots of examples. No, I don't have one. So if I will create a new type and show you how it looks like. Article, because we don't have that. Auto route, and body just because, title also. It's not really necessary, but I don't know how to create a type without a title and how to route. Here, save. Okay, so we can create articles. Very easy. Good. Now I'm going back to the type article. I will add a field, and we still have the list of fields. But if I take text field, I will call it subtitle. We see the same hint, and then the editor here, standard multiline. So this is exactly what we have today, standard multiline, but it's just done differently. I'll show you later. And if I select multiline, this is new. By selecting multiline, I got color. If I select standard, I don't get color. So these things are settings for the editor. So the content field itself is a text field, but I have access to multiple kinds of editors. In the Drupal world, they are called widgets, for your information. So multiline, and here color is just an example. I will take red. I can save my field, and if I go back and edit this field, I can still see the multiline and the color red. So all is good. And if I go to create a new article, title, body, and I have the subtitle field, which is multiline, and when I type, it's red. Okay, because this editor, the multiline editor, will look at its settings that we configured in the field to customize the rendering of the editor. So now any field can be extended with custom editors, and any module can provide custom editors for any type of field. The idea is that fields should really be about what kind of physical and logical data they store. Meaning, is it some text physically? Is it some text logically, like HTML is some physical text we store, but it's also HTML. It's not just plain text. Let's say it's like a media type. You know, when we have a media type, we have text/plain, or we have a text/HTML. Okay, there are two different things. So this is the same thing. A field should just focus about what it stores and not how it's edited. So editors should be about how do we edit this kind of field. This is why you will get custom editors for HTML, custom editors for text. Multiple values of text is a different type of field. Okay, and then we'll have custom editors for that. And this is why we need settings to be able to customize how the different editors are rendered, and sometimes not to have to create a custom field just to be able to edit them in a way. So that's what we added, and that's super powerful, and it was super easy actually to do because we already had all the extensibility points in order to do that. Now, how does this kind of settings look like, or editor look like? So if I go to the content fields, in the settings, we used to have text field settings driver, which we still have, and just updates the form to the settings of the text field and stores it in the settings of the field definition. But now we have a new class, which is text field text area editor settings, which contains color. And there is a driver for that, which is a content part field definition display driver, which is the same thing as the text field settings driver. So the editor settings are like the text field settings. They have to implement the same driver. It's just that we will render the forms, the editor, inside a zone called editor. So when we look at the field settings, it will target a zone called content. This is, let me show you, content definition types article. So when we edit a field, all the drivers implementing content part field definition display driver will be rendered here. So one is this one, hint comes from this driver. And so this part here on top of the drop down is the content zone, and here this is the editor zone. So by having this guy here targeting the editor zone, we will render the shape named text field text area editor settings.edit inside this zone, and automatically this drop down will show or hide the editor for the settings for the editor we just selected. In this case, color red will be in the file here. You see color of the text area. This is this thing. This is this form. And the trick is just to wrap the editor with field editor dash the name of the editor, the technical name of the editor, so that the drop down can just show / hide the correct editor we just selected. And on the server side, when the form is updated for the settings, we check that we are actually par definition selected the text area editor, and in this case we just look for the settings for this editor and store them in the field definition. So that's kind of easy to create custom editor settings, and an editor itself is just created. So if I look at multiline, is created the same way it used to be before, by creating a custom shape. In this case, for the multiline, this is called text field dash area dot option. So the idea is to have a shape text field underscore option with the name of the editor here, and you have options to create the option statement, the option tag in the select list, and you need another shape which is the edit to be able to edit the field itself. So that this is very simple to create custom editor settings. So going back to the enumeration field that Jasmin Antoine worked on, an enumeration field is not needed anymore. What we need is an enumeration editor to be able to attach a list of, well, enumeration could come with two flavors. First, a list of possible values for a text field. So here, instead of multiline for the text field, we can say list of values, an editor which is list of values. And when I select the list of values, then I can edit what these values are, and this will be displayed in the editor. In place of a free text editor, I will select the text from a list. Okay, but the MIME type itself of the field is still text plain. Okay, and if I want to store multiple values from a list, then I can have a multi-value text field, which will have multiple values, which will be a string array in JSON. But the editor itself will also be able to show a list of values, so that will be kind of the same editor, but for different fields, because we'll store multiple values instead. And then there can be options on the editor to say one or multiple values are required, or not more than 2 selected values, and things like this. These are editor settings, not physical or logical field settings. They are still an array of text. So that's pretty nice. And we can also, by doing that, we can then switch the editor live without changing ever the content. The physical content, the logical content is exactly the same. So you can change the editor, change the setting of the editor as your content evolves without having to lose the content because you use another field with a different name or a different storage. So that's the idea. Next, there are two next parts actually. While we made that, we discovered that we should actually do the same thing for parts. If I go to the definition for article here and I edit the HTML body, we use the same technique for the parts editors, but the old technique, the new one we just made for the fields editor. So we just need to do the same, apply the same changes we made for the fields into the parts to make parts editors be a first-class item and not specific to each part, and also support settings on that. And then what we need to do also is display settings. So when we edit a field or a part, maybe we could want to be able to select a custom template to render a field on the front end. By default, every field comes with some default tagging to be rendered. Like if I take the text field, when the text field is rendered on the front end, this is the template that will be used. You can customize it in a theme, per type, per parts, and so on, but there is no way to customize it from the UI, for instance. So if we had display settings and also display templates for the field settings, then we could do that. We could be able to provide different ways to render a text with custom settings for rendering. Like we could define directly under the field settings the tagging for rendering a field, or predefine ways to render a field. Like if it was a media field, we could imagine that we could render a video player or a pop-up window to display an image. It could be whatever you want. Okay, and this could be provided by modules again, and you will not have to create it in your template. So that's the next step, to provide display settings on the fields and probably on the parts too. And I think that's it for the more questions. No questions. That's good. So topic then on so the most questions was field settings editors. Topics on Friday. We did, how do we call that? Live demo. Because Rob asked during the triage on Thursday to see what was new in Orchard Core and how to do simple things. So I suggested that we could do a meeting to see the new thing, and I will do him a live demo. But in the end, I made it public and we recorded it. So a bunch of people joined, and we recorded how long did it? Maybe 1 hour and a half demo about all the new things in Orchard Core. And that was nice. I liked it, and people liked it too. So it's recorded. Gabor said he will publish it before the end of the week. So he'll tweet about the links, and I'll retweet it as usual. I'll post it also on the Gitter room, so you'll be able to watch it again. You will probably learn many things. And we decided that we'll do it again on Friday. But this time to create a theme, because it has been maybe the most asked demand about how do you create a theme, which is the first step to create a new site. And I don't call them themes, I call them templates. I'll explain why during the last meeting, and we'll see that also on Friday. So we'll see. We'll take a theme from Start Bootstrap. I get some help from Antoine, I'm sure, because he did that recently. And this way people will be able to have a reference video about how to make a new theme. Should be straightforward because we have done that many times already. So there should not be any blocking issues, but that's nice because we see the flows with the documentation or bugs when we do demos. That's interesting. We were blocked a few times on Friday, but like for a few seconds, and we found the solutions after. It was just we just forgot how we will have to do that, like creating a template for a widget. If you use a stereotype widget, you have to call your template widget. And I think that's also why you will see on the video, if you watch the video, we could not template a menu item. I think for the same reason, a menu item is a stereotype menu item, so we messed up the name of the template. So we'll do that for a theme on Friday, and we'll see if we do that recurring event, because I also said for a long time that I wanted to build a website that will not use theming per se, but create custom pages, MVC pages or Razor pages, and grab the content by itself. So this is more the way, this is closer to the way that developers will do a website, but still being able to get the content from the CMS. That should be super flexible, super straightforward, and there will be less concepts to grasp from Orchard to be able to create a website. We'll see that. So this will be maybe in 2 weeks. So next week should be about creating a theme. This, I think that the time slot was good. We started at 11:30 Pacific. We could do an 11 instead. We could do the issue if we start at noon. I'm afraid 1 hour will be too short, so I'm better starting off at 11 Pacific, which makes 8 p.m. Paris time, if it's fine with everyone. And it's recorded, so it's good to join, because you can ask questions and you can help also and drive the demos itself, which is good, but it's recorded. So that's also fine not to join and just wait for the recording. Yep, so we'll see how it goes on Friday. And we do that on the same room as you are in right now. So that's also super useful. Anyone can connect and talk and share and help. So that's it. Questions? Other topics otherwise? Am I missing something?
Sebastian, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I swear I've seen somewhere a live preview for Orchard 1. I know the Markdown module kind of has something like that. Do you remember seeing that someone demo that?
Yes, Nick made not live preview, but he made inline editor in Orchard 1. Inline editor on the front end, and I know it's not a thing. We never ship that because I'm totally opposed to that. I'm opposed to front end inline editors because it can't work, because it's too dependent to the theme, so we can't provide anything that will work with every theme. It's much work. And the solution we have right now in Orchard Core, based on the backend, but still with front-end preview, so backend inline editing with front-end preview, live front-end preview.
The problem I'm running into is that it's so cool on Orchard Core that it makes you want it in Orchard 1 also.
So it's super easy to do. I did that like in a day, and then it went through a bunch of improvements from other contributors, but now you see there is nothing, literally nothing to do to make it work. So yeah, I would encourage anyone to port it back to Orchard 1, because I mean that's really nothing to do. And Orchard 1 will support that very easily.
It's a terrible experience trying to get all the style sheets in there to what's the editor? I can't remember the name of it now.
Yeah, TinyMC. Yeah.
Yeah, TinyMC. You know, it really sucks to get that to look like.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. And the same way on the front end, but with the opposite experience, which is trying to make an editor fit inside the theme of your front end. So that's why there's a mismatch. You can't have the editor experience and at the same time the front end experience. That's not possible. That's why what we did in Orchard Core is you get your editor experience, and on another page you get your front end experience. You edit in the editor and you see live the result on the front end. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, watch the video once it's published, because we have demonstrated that by the past, but this is one of the best features of Orchard Core, and that was one of the most simple ones to implement. So yeah, that's totally doable to copy what we do in Orchard 1. Just look at the feature at the module. There is one controller. The idea is just whenever there is a change in the form, we just serialize the form itself. send it to a controller to create a fake content item, and we say, please render this fake content item as if it was one on the front end. It gives back the HTML like the default controller is doing, and then we just render it in an iframe. So, and that's super simple. So yeah, it's totally doable for Orchard 1. I won't do it.
God, I would love that. There's a lot of people who would love whoever, you know, makes that. Is there any? I was late. Is there any ship date on 10.3?
No. Did someone ping what we said last week?
Yes, I have pinged Benedek.
Oh, you pinged Benedek. Oh, because you watched the video, for sure. Okay. Yeah, good. So let's ping him. He will ship it. He needs to ship it. Ping him again, Rob. Add more noise to the thread, and you will have to do it. That's how it works. That's how it works for me. If you don't bother me, I won't do things. So you have to ping me, to wake me up, remind me I need to do some things. Yeah. Other questions?
Yeah, one more. Are we going to have a harvest when we ship too?
We talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. Is that Russell was the question? Maybe Russell asked a question. So there is nothing forecasted for that. Yes, but when we have the RC on Orchard Core, we'll do a harvest.
And that's Europe this year.
It should be Europe.
Europe will be fine.
Yeah, it should be. When we'll talk about it, I don't know. It can be anywhere. It's been a long time, but it should be Europe. So yeah, preferably Europe. But yeah, worst case we'll do 2 of them, one in Europe, one in the US. Might be worth it, even if it's a lower attendance. I don't care. Budget-wise, we usually do very well, meaning we do it super cheap. So if we can do more than one or in more than one location, then I'm fine with that too. People will appreciate that because it's hard to go in Europe for the American ones, and it's hard to go in America maybe for the European ones. We'll see. But yeah, we can, once we are close to RC, but we don't need that many more modules to go to RC, so let's focus on that, and then we can do a harvest. All the help is appreciated. Take 1 module each of you, and we are done in 3 months. Good? Okay. So next meeting Thursday for the triage, if you have bugs open or questions, and Friday, let's say 11 a.m. PST. Friday, I will send a tweet and message on Gitter to do the theming development live video. No preparation, it's live. It's just, okay, how do we do that based on whatever knowledge we have, based on the source code, based on documentation, and find the gaps in the documentation and the source code to make it better. Or also improvements when we see it's painful, we say, okay, we should find an issue to explain that better or to provide a better solution. And Jasmine, it will be in English, sorry. If that's fine for you. Good, thanks everyone. See you later this week, bye-bye.
Goodbye.